Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a piece of writing that so many of us know by heart. But what if I told you that the gentle, comforting version we all remember is actually hiding a story that's way more rugged and a whole lot more intense?
I mean, come on. This has to be one of the most famous poems in the entire world. For millions, it's been a source of incredible comfort in the darkest of times. These words just feel like a warm blanket, right? A gentle promise of peace.
Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to dig into the original Hebrew, and what we're about to uncover isn't just simple comfort. It's this radical, almost aggressive declaration of divine intervention that's been hiding in plain sight behind these familiar words.
Okay, let's jump right in by looking at the very first verses, because this is really where the foundation for a completely new way of seeing this psalm gets laid. When we read this line, our brains pretty much immediately go to one place. God will make sure I have everything I need. It's a simple, kind of passive assurance. But check this out. The Hebrew word here is chasar. And it doesn't just mean to lack, it's more specific. It means a gradual decrease, a slow motion failure, this ongoing depletion. So the promise isn't just you won't be in need. No, it's that God is actively stepping in to stop the slow erosion of your resources, your strength, your very vitality. It's proactive. And it gets even more forceful from there. We always picture he makes me lie down as this gentle suggestion, right? But the Hebrew verb form for pabas, it actually implies causation. Think about what a shepherd has to do to a stubborn sheep that just refuses to stop and rest for its own good. God isn't just inviting us to rest, he forces us to rest when we just won't do it for ourselves. And this next one brilliantly illustrates another huge shift in perspective. Green pastures. We're not talking about the rolling, endless green hills of Ireland here. The word dayshed refers to the tender, new sprouts that pop up almost miraculously in a dry, arid desert right after a rain. So this isn't a picture of permanent, endless abundance. It's a picture of timely, precious, and, fleeting provision that shows up exactly when you need it most. And the final piece of this first section, the paths of righteousness. We tend to imagine a straight, easy road. But the word magal actually describes entrenched, circular ruts. You know the kind that get worn into the ground by walking the exact same path over and over and over again? It suggests righteousness isn't some one-time choice, but a habit that's literally forged through repetition.
Okay, so now let's see how all this builds into the psalm's most famous and dramatic verse. This is where the tone gets incredibly personal and you can really feel it. Up to this point, just notice the language. The psalmist is talking about God. He makes me. He leads me. It's a third-person thing, describing a powerful but maybe a little distant shepherd. But the second crisis hits, the moment we enter that valley. The grammar does a 180. The pronoun flips from he to you. It's not a description anymore. It's a direct, intimate conversation to God. The danger doesn't create distance, it creates this spike in intimacy.
And what about that famous valley? Well, the Hebrew word tzalmevet is actually a mashup of two words, shadow and death. This suggests it's not always about literal physical death, but about a terrifying image of it, a deep gloom, a crisis that feels like the end. The fear is absolutely real, but the threat itself might just be a shadow. The comfort we find in that valley also comes from tools that mean so much more than we think. The rod, or shevet, isn't just for smacking sheep into line. It's a scepter. It's a symbol of the shepherd's authority and a sign that the sheep belongs to the tribe. And the staff, mishnet, it comes from the root word to lean, meaning true comfort is found not in our own strength, but when we acknowledge our dependence on a higher power.
So, here's the crucial point. After that moment of really intimate comfort in the valley, the psalmist doesn't just go back to peaceful pastures. Nope. Instead, it pivots to this surprisingly bold, defiant, and almost confrontational celebration. When the psalmist says God prepares a table, we think of a friendly host putting out a nice meal, but the Hebrew verb here is arak. Get this. It's the exact same word used for arranging troops for battle. This isn't just dinner. It's a military formation. It's a strategic move. And why is it a strategic move? Because it's happening in the presence of my tsorer, a word that doesn't just mean enemies, it means besiegers. So try to picture this. You are completely surrounded, you're under siege, and in that exact moment, your commander sets up a victory feast for you. It's an act of psychological warfare and ultimate confidence. Now, this defiant feast leads right into one of the psalm's most famous lines, "My cup runneth over." But, as you can probably guess, the original word here is so much more dramatic.
The Hebrew word revayah is just way more extreme. It means to be saturated, to be absolutely drenched. It implies an overflow so massive that it could actually lead to intoxication. This is not a gentle little spill over the side of a cup. It's an overwhelming, intoxicating flood of blessing right in the face of your enemies.
And that brings us to the final and I think maybe the most stunning reversal in this entire Psalm's promise. Seriously, this changes everything about how we see God's blessings.
We've always heard this as a very gentle, passive thing, right? Like you've got these two loyal companions just kind of trailing peacefully behind you throughout your life.
But the Hebrew verb is radaf, and radaf does not mean to follow. It means to chase, to pursue, to hunt down, even to persecute. This is the word you'd use for an army chasing its enemy across a battlefield. So God's goodness and mercy, they aren't just passively waiting for you. They are actively, aggressively hunting you down every single day of your life.
So when you put all these rugged, confrontational meanings together, that gentle poem is completely transformed. It becomes this fierce promise of a God who provides, who protects, and who pursues with a powerful, relentless love. He isn't passive at all. He is profoundly and relentlessly active.
This whole thing really takes our understanding from just being a simple, comforting poem and elevates it into a profound covenantal promise. It's not just a nice thought. It's more like a binding contract of fierce, active devotion. So in the end, the gentle poem we thought we knew becomes this fierce declaration. And it kind of makes you wonder, right? It asks us to consider a faith that isn't about passively waiting around, but about trusting a love so active, so relentless, that it's not just following us, it's hunting us down.